Hello, everybody. What's up? So I'm Corey.
I'm Kelly.
We
We're gonna come up with we're gonna eventually come up with a beginning.
hello.
One day.
Hello. Some lingo. So I was just reading a talk, and it was talking about trials and tribulations, trials that we have in life, and how much easier it is for us to look at our trials after we go through them, and after we've been through that trial, and we can look back and say, oh, this is what I was able to learn from that trial, as opposed to while we are actually in the middle of our trials and actually going through our trials, being able to step back and say, what am I supposed to learn from this? What am I supposed to learn from what I'm going through right now? And that is able, I guess, to help us go through that trial a lot easier, is if we're actually able to step back and say that, like, what am I supposed to learn? Instead of once it's all over and everything's good and life's got back to feeling right, then I can say, oh, that's what I was supposed to learn. So
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard to be in the trial with the chaos, with all the emotions and the feelings and the blame and all the stuff that goes along with trials. It's hard to step back and to look at it in that way.
Yeah, definitely is. And I've always heard, like, why am I feeling angry? While I'm in the anger, step back and try and observe the anger. And it's like, well, when you're angry, you just want to hold on to it and just be angry, instead of try and step back and say, what am I really feeling? What am I really experiencing? Why am I feeling this way? Instead of after I throw a temper tantrum and I'm doing all that I do when I'm angry, then saying, oh, that's why I was angry. But to actually be angry and to feel the anger and to observe it and not judge it as like I'm bad or I'm good because of how I'm dealing with this. Just step outside of it and say, what is it that I'm feeling right now?
Yeah. I feel like I'm really improving with this. Like I'm recognizing, with you talking about this, I'm recognizing that I'm in the process of doing this, because I feel like I am in a big trial right now. I mean, I think it's sometimes hard whenever we are so, like, feeling so blissful. Like, I feel really blissful in my life, and I have so much joy and happiness, and I feel like I'm doing things daily to have this in my life. And I think that sometimes, like, it's, for myself right now, I can recognize that I've almost been in a state of maybe denial also, or in a state where I'm not recognizing that I really have this big trial in my life right now that I'm not dealing with, I think, maybe. Or I'm not, I don't know. I don't know what it is at the moment. So Friday, it is Sunday today. So Friday, I had a strong feeling that I needed to fast from social media, and that I just needed to take some time to separate myself, to just distance myself from the world, because I listen to podcasts all the time. Like, I'm constantly learning. I love to learn. I love to expand and grow, and I love to learn about things that's going to help me in my life to just be a better person, to improve, to help other people. And so I've been in kind of a state of just like intaking, like just taking in so much. And I've also been really into sharing stuff on social media, the things that I am learning for myself, to hopefully help other people. But I recognized the other day that this past week I was on social media a whole lot more, like unnecessarily. Like I kept going to it. And so Friday night I was like, hey, I'm gonna do this. So Saturday, I'm just not on it now. And for the next 10 days, I'm just not gonna be on it. Well, I have an addiction. And anytime you have an addiction, I mean, it's like my thoughts are there. Like I keep going back. Like I grab my phone and I'm like, why am I grabbing my phone? Like I get no texts really, it's like, why am I? But it's such an addiction. And so yesterday I was like, okay, well I need to do some other things with my time. And and it's crazy whenever we open ourselves up, whenever we limit the distractions in our lives, when we step away from our addictions, we begin to recognize things and see things and feel things. And I had an experience where I just was overcome with so much grief. I have so much grief within me that I have not looked at, that I've not been aware is there. Like I lost my mom, that was 9 years ago. And it's like, I feel like I've grieved her, but I don't know that you ever fully grieve the loss of a mother. I just don't know. And then I lost my sister-in-law, who is my sister. And during the time that she passed away, I was so wrapped up and consumed and codependent and dealing with a huge trial with my husband and everything that he was going through. And so it's like, I did not mourn my sister because I was in a process with my husband. And I recognized that I have not mourned my husband. Yes, he's still alive and he's with me, but he's not well. And it's like, there's a lot of grief that comes with facing physical illness and mental illness. And then like grieving my children, like my children just up and left, like empty nest. And it's like, because I was going through so much with my husband, I also did not have an opportunity. I didn't mourn and grieve my children. And so this was all coming to me yesterday, and I just sobbed, and it was such a deep sob. And I feel like grief is in that place where when you're crying so hard that you exhale everything out of you, it's like all out of you, and the more you cry, the more you push out, and it's like it just releases out of you. And then taking that inhale and just sobbing, it's so healing. And I didn't know that all that was in me, and it was just, and so after that happened, I was like, okay, I felt a little lighter, like I was just recognizing. And I was like, okay, I need to do something else because I'm not going to my social media, I'm not recording, I'm not doing stuff. And so I have a book that I've been reading. It's Healing the Child Within. And so, and I've been reading it for a couple months. I'll just read a little bit at a time. And so I opened it, and the chapter that I had left off on was about grief. And I was like, well, all right. It's just the way that it works. It is so incredible. And so I started reading about grief, and I was like, oh, this is exactly where I am. And one of the sections about grief was anger, and feeling anger and experiencing anger. And as I read it, I was like, this is a huge block for me, is anger, because I have always felt like anger is a bad thing. You don't want to feel anger. You repress anger. don't, it's like if I start to feel anger, well, let me think positive thoughts, because I don't want to feel anger towards anyone. I don't want to feel anger towards myself. Anger is an ugly emotion. It's bad. It's, I've just had all this judgment about anger, and I don't like to let myself feel angry. And so, and I recognize in the past, in trials in the past, whenever I have felt a lot of anger, it has made me sick, and it has made me mentally ill. It has pushed me to use substances to numb the anger. Like, I don't like anger. I don't want anger. I feel bad if I feel angry towards you. I don't want to hurt another person with my anger. So what have I done? I have pushed anger down my whole life. And when we do that, we don't allow ourselves to grieve the things that have hurt us in our lives. I don't want to be angry towards other people. I don't want to be angry towards myself, but I'm recognizing and learning that I have anger in me, because I've never allowed myself to feel it, and I'm scared to feel it, because it's, like I said, it's made me sick. It's caused me to get stuck into addictions and stuff. And so I know I've got a lot of anger in me that I'm now stepping into a process of needing to look at it and face it and feel it and heal it, because the only way I can heal it is to feel it, is what I'm learning.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, anger is a hard one. I don't like it.
Yeah, you gotta embrace it. You gotta take it and feel it. And that's the one I don't like to feel either. And I've said on here before, I told one of my counselors in a rehab that I just don't have any anger. And I was in complete denial that I even had anger within me. Just complete denial. And I really believed it. I believed that I didn't have any anger. And in the last couple of weeks, I've been an angry person. I've also felt bliss throughout the last couple of weeks, but I have had these feelings pop up, and it's like, just push it down. I don't want to feel that. It's not healthy. And my eating, I eat really good, but I've been eating too much of really good stuff. And it's like, that's eating is just a way to cope with things. And I've been eating a lot of fruits and vegetables and like salad and just the stuff I like to eat. I've been eating too much of it, because I've just been, eating is a great way to just not feel, but it's the anger is something I've also always been just afraid of for whatever reason. You're not supposed to be angry. Don't be angry. Anger's bad. And it's like, anger is just a human emotion. Anger is something everybody feels. Anger is something that the only way that I will ever overcome my anger is if I embrace it and really look at it while I'm feeling it, instead of after I'm angry looking at it and saying, oh, that's what was going on. It's in the moment that I'm angry that for me to grow from that feeling, I want to write and I want to read about it and not run from it, and then later whenever I'm feeling okay then think about it, because it's not raw and it's not fresh. It's like, now I can talk about it, and it's not as real once it's over. So it's when I'm in the middle of it that I can really learn the most from it. And that goes for any emotion. When we're going through the trial, whatever tribulation and trial is going on in my life, while I'm in that that's when I'm going to learn the most. If I can step back and write about it, pray about it, meditate on it, that's when I'm going to learn the most and grow the most and get the answers of what am I supposed to do? You know, what can I do? And that's if I wait until it's over, then there's really nothing that I need to do.
Right.
You know?
Well, and two, it's so interesting because like all this anger that we have bottled up and shoved down in us, it's there. I mean, and what happens is other people will trigger it, you know, like just being in traffic. I mean, there are days whenever I'm in traffic and I get aggravated, and it's like that it's something coming up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, other people might say stuff and it's coming up, and oh my goodness, and it's just being able to recognize when these feelings come up, like you said. I think it helps that we've been like in this place of like the blissfulness, like feeling well, feeling so good most of the time. When these things come up, we're so aware of it. It's like we know something is off. And so it's helping me to be able to look at the feelings. Like yesterday with the grief coming up, like I was recognizing it and feeling it and understanding what was going on. And that's what's so important. But when we're in our trials, when we're surrounded by so much and we're just filled with so much emotion, so many different emotions, you know, it's hard to pick out what's going on. And those are the times that we really need to do what you said, sit with it and journal and feel, because we can be so hurt inside and we don't know how to handle it, so we hurt others.
Mm-hmm.
We throw it out at other people and everything that you've done to me. You know, it's like that's where we start bringing up the past and stuff that's just not present.
Yeah. And my behavior with other people is where it definitely comes out the most.
Yeah, me too.
You know, hurting those that are closest to us, saying things, and just, it's like, that is just not a place that I want to be. Mm-hmm. That is not a peaceful, happy place. And I mean, that's where I love being. I love being in a peaceful, happy place with my children, with people I love. You know, I mean, even just customers of mine, I love being with them in their house and having conversations and being with people that I'm just growing relationships with. It's amazing how, as I've been healing and growing and making step by step a little progress here, a little progress there, my relationships with just people that I've never had a relationship, like a real relationship with, that are just like customers of mine, I'm growing closer to these people that are just random people, you know, that you don't really, I wouldn't really consider friends, but I'm growing to become friends with these people, you know. And it's if I'm sick and I'm angry and I'm just constantly holding all these negative emotions in, well, then I'm not able to be there for anybody. You know, I'm not able to be there for anybody at all, because I am just wrapped up in, let me get this over with, let me go do whatever I got to do with this person and go be by myself, so I can go be angry by myself and do whatever I can do to abuse myself, you know. But anger just is not bad. It is something that we have to learn from. I need to learn from it, you know. And it's it's whenever we do push it down that it just becomes so heavy, because that is a very heavy emotion. That is an emotion that can just kill us, literally.
Yeah, I've been learning about emotions and things, and that we need to allow ourselves to feel. We need to allow ourselves to have that emotion within us and not push it away. I mean, that's really, it's what this life is all about. It's feeling all of these things and learning how to manage them, learning how to cope responsibly, learning how to cope in healthy ways, because we all have them. I mean, I think, for myself, like with anger, there's so many examples out there of people having anger, and it is ugly. It's mean, it's abusive, it's just, it doesn't feel good. It's so painful, and so I think that, like, for myself, my mind goes to that extreme. Like, if I allow myself to feel anger, then something bad is gonna happen. Like, it's gonna get bad.
Be cursed.
Yeah, and it's like, but that's just not. It's not true. It's not. It's so crazy. I'm learning it is so crazy. All the things that we have learned in this life that are just not true, but we don't know it, like, until we become aware, that I've just learned all these things about anger that's really not true, and it's not healthy. And it's not been healthy for me to not display my anger, because there have been things that have happened in my life that truly would make a person angry, but I don't let myself feel that way because I feel bad. I don't want to hurt you. And then if I do feel angry and I express it, then I'm afraid of how the other person is going to react or respond. And so it's like I just keep it all inside myself, and it has really made me sick. And part of the process of having grief and feeling that anger is, I'm learning, is to share, is to talk about it, is to tell our story. I feel like Corey and I have, for 8 months, we've really opened ourselves up, and we have shared our weaknesses, we have shared our struggles, we share, as deeply as we have been able to on a public thing, because we do have other people in our lives that we don't want
throw their stuff out.
Right. And so we say what we can say, but we haven't really sat and really shared our story. So it's like everyone has just parts and pieces, and you see, like, all the things that we struggle with and have challenges with, but it's like we haven't laid out our story and, like, who we are. I mean, I was born, it's like we could start from the beginning and share our stories, and I'm learning that from what I've been reading over the past couple days, that going through the grieving process and experiencing the anger and allowing ourselves to feel all these emotions, that it's important for us to share our story. It's important for us to speak. And, and that's not to throw other people under the bus or like blame anybody for anything that's happened in our lives, but our life is what our life is. And I've learned so much in my life just from my own experiences, and also from dealing with other people's experiences, and it's important for us to vocalize it, for us to say it out loud. And that is one thing that I feel like I've been afraid to speak my story fully in one thing. I don't know. I'm coming to see that and recognize that. Like, I haven't actually, like, laid it out there. Because in the past, I have shared parts of my story from a victim standpoint. Like I've been victimized, and so it has come from a place of needing validation and needing people to, like, you know, feel sorry for me, or I don't know, whatever all that sickness is, but to be able to share our story in a way that we're not like so emotionally involved in it, you know. There's just a difference, and I think that will help us to process a lot of the stuff that we still have in here that's needing to be processed.
That's probably, when you were saying that, that's probably where I've actually grown the most doing this, is recognizing my story and recognizing my experiences in life and the things that I've done and the damage that I've done, and done a lot of good things too, you know, but recognizing how those things have helped me grow, you know, and that's, well, back to where I started, you know. I'm able to look at it from the past and say, well, this is what I learned from that, what I went through. But what am I learning from what I'm going through right now? You know, what am I learning right now with what I'm going through? Because I'm going through a lot, you know, and everybody is. It doesn't stop. That's what life is. It's a constant trial. And if it did stop, well, our growth would stop. But I think the most important thing for me now is being able to learn to recognize what it is God's trying to teach me while I'm in the middle of it, instead of pushing it down and ignoring it, and then once that tornado and hurricane has passed through my life, then I'm able to say, oh, that's what God was teaching me. That's what I was supposed to learn. That's what I learned. You know?
Yeah.
So.
I'm learning in my trial right now. I am learning patience, and I'm learning how to love differently than I've ever loved before, because I've been so codependent, and I've been really working on changing that. And so as I do let go of so much of my thinking, so much of just codependency is just a crazy one, but I'm learning to love differently. Heavenly Father is teaching me.
Yeah, that's huge. Because I was actually told that I don't know how to love, and I took a lot of offense to that. But I don't. Yeah. I never have known how to love, and I've never loved myself. And I'm learning that I am worth loving, you know? And I've never let anybody love me. I've never really loved anybody because I've never known how to. And that it is such a huge just change that we've been going through, I've been experiencing.
Oh, absolutely.
Is learning my self-worth and learning that it doesn't matter what another person says about me. It doesn't matter what another person thinks about me. It's how do I really feel about myself inside? And that's what's most important is, you know, who am I? What am I doing to be a better person today? How am I becoming a better father? You know, when you were talking about emotions, my thoughts were, how many times have I told my kids not to feel this way or not to feel that way? You know, don't be angry, don't do this, don't cry, whatever. It's like, no, do it. And I have made a lot of progress in that as a father with my kids, you know, allowing them to do, you know, they don't really know how to control their emotions yet. So when they're feeling them, it's like I allow them to do it. And then I'll go lay down with them and, you know, let them cry it out. And it's good. It's healthy.
It is. It's it's just so much that we've learned from society and just the way that people have just been for generations and generations. And I feel like there's just something happening right now with the world, with just people are becoming aware of like that we've just been stuck in this mind frame that's so old. It's just, and it's not healthy, and it's made us all sick. I mean, you look at the world and it's sick. It really is. All the addiction. I mean, people are not wanting to feel what they're feeling. And if they are feeling, they're feeling it so extreme that it's unhealthy. Yeah, I'm learning the same thing too with just self-worth, just and the judgment stuff. Especially with social media and just not allowing other people's judgments to bother me the way that it used to. Even my own, like I recognize my own, and that they're just patterns. They're recordings that I've just said to myself throughout my whole life, and I'm just aware of them now, and I love it. I do. I love growing. I love changing. I love having days like yesterday where I just recognize so much grief within me and so much sadness, and just being able to cry and feel just that loss for my sister. And I know that there's so much more there, but just letting that much out, it was like, it's just so freeing. It allows me to be able to love better, to be a cleaner and clearer vessel for the Spirit to work for me personally in my own life and for those around me.
Yeah, it is so healthy to feel.
It is.
No matter what the emotion is, but to actually feel it and to embrace it and not run from it. It's where running from it gets me in trouble.
Yeah. Numbing it.
Yeah. It is wonderful to hurt, and because I mean it just makes being in bliss that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
That's where bliss comes from, is experiencing pain. And to actually just life is so good. I mean,
it really is.
Life is so good, and even in the pain, in the trials, that's why we're here. That's the whole purpose, is to grow and to learn, and not just get stuck in the mire and just spin our wheels and just be stuck in the same place for 30 years. It's just time to move forward. Move forward and just feel that anger. Feel whatever it is. And don't judge it. Don't judge it. Just to feel it and be okay with that.
And that doesn't mean that we feel the anger and lash out at people.
No.
It's like you don't have to even do anything with it except just feel it.
Yeah.
Like, because I think that's my biggest fear.
Don't
is like,
judge it.
Like, I'm going to feel all this anger, and then I'm going to be mean to other people. And I don't want to be mean. Like,
and you don't have to.
Right, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We just sit in a corner and feel it.
Yeah. Cry it out.
Yeah.
And just embrace it and love it. Because it does. It just feels good to have those deep cries. They're so healing. Yesterday was a healing day for you, obviously.
Yeah.
And
I have a feeling that I'm going to have another 10 days of it because I'm disconnected. Like I'm disconnecting from so much stuff because I feel that there is something. I mean, I know that God put that thought into my mind because He's working with me. And He, just the way that grief came up. And then I opened a book that is talking about grief and anger. That's the way that God works. That's the way He moves us. That's the way, and then talking in church today just about trials and just the different things. It's just so incredible. It's the little breadcrumbs that God gives us to just lead us on this path, to help us to heal You know, I think about that a lot, how, you know, Jesus, he is our healer. Like, he heals us. And I know that he could totally just heal me completely, 100%, heal my heart, heal my brokenness, make me just perfect, you know? I know that he could do that. But I also know that he heals us slowly, that he gives us one step at a time. And with how you were saying the comparison with, you know, feeling, we have to feel the hurt to feel the bliss. And a lot of times through our healing, through the process that God brings us through to heal us, we have to get deep down into that pain and into that suffering, and to feel part of what Christ felt when he suffered for us. Because whenever we can reach those depths of healing and feel that, then we're able to understand, we're able to have empathy and compassion, and we're able to help other people who are also in that place.
And that's how we become more Christ-like. Yeah, definitely.
And so he heals us, and it's a process. Sometimes it's not an overnight healing. It's a journey, and that's where the grace comes in, where it's a day-to-day thing. And it's beautiful.
It is.
And I'm so grateful.
Me too. I have a lot of gratitude today. It's a beautiful day. It has been a beautiful week, actually. I've had a lot of emotions, but life is good.
It is.
I hope y'all are having a wonderful Sabbath day, and just feel it. There's no reason to push it down. Yeah. Life is good. Love y'all.
Bye, y'all.